Hey everybody, welcome to the Patty G Show. I'm your host, Patty G. We are here for a very special episode this week. We have none other than Boudreaux's. We're going to be talking jewelry. We're going to be talking gift giving, the calendar year, kind of where some good dates and times to show your love for others, and also hear a little bit more about the family history of the business itself. Before we get to that, I want to give a big, wonderful shout out and thank you to the folks that bring you this show each and every week. We couldn't do it without our amazing partners, Falaya Real Estate, Lakeman's Health Center, Horizon Financial Group, and Gage. Now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to bring on the show Mr. Donny Boudreaux. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you for getting me on.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you've got a great team over at Boudreaux's here in Baton Rouge that kind of pushed you along the way to say, no, you got to get Donny on the show.
Absolutely. Takes a little nudge here and there.
But here we are.
Absolutely.
None other than the week before Valentine's Day, which up until now I thought was a big holiday for the jewelry market. But before we dive into all that marketing space, who are you, sir, and what is it that you do?
Okay. So I'm Donny Boudreaux. I'm with Boudreaux's Jewelers. I've been with the family business for about 25 so years. I'm operating here in the Baton Rouge location. We have 3 locations. So we have stores in Metairie and Mandeville also. And we're actually into our 4th generation as a family jeweler.
Okay. I didn't know. So 4 generations.
4 generations, yeah. I'm generation 3 and my nephews are generation 4.
Okay. So that's you're able to see the torch being passed.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. I mean, y'all been open since, what, 1933?
1933. My grandfather started it in downtown New Orleans, and he basically was a bench jeweler. He crafted everything that he sold, and he started out as a manufacturing jeweler working with other retailers, and then as his children grew, he developed into the retail space.
Okay, so he actually started out as like a hand crafter.
Yeah, he was at the bench
jewelry,
creating jewelry, making things. He one of his claims to fame actually is the monstrance at the St. Louis Cathedral in New Orleans. He is the jeweler that set the diamonds around the monstrance in that.
Really?
Yeah.
So you got some family history down in New Orleans.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, what was it like kind of grow? So you're being 3rd generation.
Yes.
What was it like growing up in that atmosphere?
It was great. We grew up in New Orleans, and my dad would oftentimes bring us down to the shop. It was a little 10-minute drive from where we lived in the city, and it was just great being downtown. Actually, I remember days where I would take the bus and go down there as a young person and feel safe in the city, and go meet my dad for lunch and hang out and just be around all that activity that's going on in the city.
So you were around in the city. Were you ever behind the shelves helping out in the business, or were you more sitting off in the corner doing the homework and waiting for Dad to finish up?
Yeah, most of that, we were kind of cut-ups as kids. He would sometimes get us to do projects around the store, and so we would actually paint during our summer breaks, and he would also have us do gift wrapping for customers.
So y'all were very much don't go see the customer.
Oh yeah, he knew where to keep us at that point. Yeah.
So, and you have a couple of siblings too that are in the business as well.
Yes, so I have an older brother that is in our store in Metairie, and I have a younger brother that's in our store in Mandeville.
So, was there ever a point where your dad sat the 3 of y'all down and was like, "Y'all have to take over the family business"?
Actually, interestingly enough, my parents were always maybe not fully encouraging us to come in, but you have to realize I'm from a family of 8.
They don't want to have that many locations.
So there's a lot more of us that are, potentially, and have touched the business through the years, but 3 of us have stuck.
Okay, so 3 of y'all have stuck, and y'all kind of each operate within.
Yeah, and that's the real beauty of our business, is that we do have a family member at each location, so we really kind of operate in that manner. Where we want to give you that personal experience and personal touch.
So, were you always a jeweler? Was this the first business, job you ever had, and kind of stuck with it, or was there some other things leading up to this?
So, I have a different past where, again, I kind of listened to my parents and said, "Oh yeah, I'm just going to go off and do what I want to do." So, I went to LSU, and actually, the first day of where you pick out your classes and all, I was going to go into like marketing or business of some type. And I was in the PMAC at that time. They did the class selection over there. And, I walked up to this table, and this group was putting on a good presentation. It really spoke to me. So I just decided to change my degree at that point, and I studied landscape architecture. So, and actually I graduated from LSU in 5 years, 5-year program, and did that for a brief period.
Okay, so you were a landscape architecture for how long were you a landscape architect?
Actually, I was, before I got into the family business, probably for about 5 years. And then there was a period when I started working with the family and continued to do a little bit of that landscaping at the same time. But then that was a little bit tough to juggle. So I just, focused on the jewelry.
Gotcha. So you're juggling the landscape architect side and the jewelry side.
Yeah.
At what point were you like, I got to go all in on one or the other?
Yeah, it was just certain things going on with the landscape side, just not being present all the time and just not having enough accountability with all my staff, and it just wasn't working out.
It's just organic.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then things were presenting themselves better in the family business. Got involved, and, it was comfortable working with my siblings and my father. And so it really, blossomed from there.
So were you there before the Baton Rouge location took place and kind of spearheaded that opening, or was it already there and you kind of took it over?
So basically we came here in 2005, and I started in roughly about like 1995 or 96. So I worked in our Metairie and Mandeville shops for a brief period, and then kind of focused in the Metairie shop for a good number of years. And then in 2005, we actually were shut down with Katrina. Mm-hmm. So both of our stores, there was no physical damage, but the stores were, closed. The people were gone. So
nobody was coming down there to buy jewelry.
Nobody was coming to buy jewelry. So we were being like lumberjacks at my dad's house over in Covington area, cleaning out the property. And, through that period, we just had discussions of, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? So in that, we decided to open a shop in Baton Rouge. And my dad had a realtor friend that was evacuated up in Baton Rouge, so he quickly located a spot for us. And I know we're actually in the building with Manuel Martinez. I know he's done one of your segments, and so he's our landlord where we are here.
Okay.
And so we hit the ground running, got open right before Christmas, and have been operating ever since.
So being in the jewelry business and with the digital age, I'm sure at the time of 2005, y'all were still able to conduct business, just not storefront.
Yeah. So you mean through that period?
Through the
closed?
Katrina period, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So we were definitely staying in touch with clients, and really once we got back open, we were doing a lot of restoration because of the flooding. People were getting bank boxes out with stuff that looked black, and it's amazing. Hopefully nobody threw their stuff away, because we were able to bring it back to life, and it wasn't destroyed. It just needed to be incredibly cleaned.
I didn't even think about that. So the cleaning side of the business, was that ever a service that was sold, or was it always just part of the package deal?
I think most of the time people just knew, they knew to reach out to us, and we were very established in those markets. So, people knew to contact us.
Yeah, I guess jewelry is one of those things that if you have in a bank box and during the flood, it's the first thing that's going to get dirty.
Yeah, definitely.
So going to the Baton Rouge market and opening that store and kind of being your presence, your foot in the ground, mm-hmm. was it any different than opening up in a Metairie or New Orleans location from a market standpoint?
Definitely from a market reach, because obviously the advertising in those previous markets are together, whereas Baton Rouge is a whole new landscape. So it was, really, just the realization that, there's a lot more to it than just, opening a store. You've got to promote. You've got to, make people realize that you're here. And there were some displaced people, that were here, temporarily, that would come and see us. But it was just a matter of, getting Baton Rouge to kind of realize, let's give this place a shot. We've heard a lot of good things. And surprisingly enough, we did have a lot of clients through the history of our business that would travel to New Orleans, to shop for jewelry. So there were customers that were already here.
Imagine taxiing on a plane looking toward the end of the runway. It seems so far away, it's even hard to see it. And that's what the concept of retirement probably felt like when you were in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, way far in the distance, not visible or even a concern. But as you turn 50, something happens. Retirement suddenly seems like something real, something not too far away. In your 50s, you are rolling down the runway. Retirement is getting closer and closer, faster and faster, weeks and months zipping by. But are you even ready for a successful takeoff to retirement? Fear not, there's still runway left. But the time is now. Time to make progress, and time to get a plan. The Runway Decade will help you get organized, get energized, and give you the direction you need to take off to your desired retirement. The Runway Decade, building a pre-retirement flight plan in your 50s.
So, being started in 95 in the business, at what point did y'all develop an online presence, and did y'all start seeing that become a shift in the industry as a whole? Because initially it's get in front of the jewelry, look at it, feel it, see how it works, and then purchase it. But now, like, people don't even go into the store now to buy like an engagement ring of anything. They're buying a diamond online and bringing it to a jeweler to get it set. Where did that come into the play from a digital scape?
Honestly, we have we really kind of work opposite of that in my mind, and really we invite people to come in. We appreciate the brick and mortar and what it has to offer. So yeah, we do step into that realm, and we do promote in that way. But I think really jewelry is a tangible thing. It's really something you need to see, and you need to put it on yourself, see it on yourself. So I think, there's still a benefit to having that brick and mortar, and it's not as easy as just buying it online. Certainly people are going to, do that, and, just buyer beware.
Yeah, because you don't know what you're getting.
Exactly.
You don't know if the style or the cut or anything or the clarity is going to be exactly what they're promising, but in the store you can see that.
Yeah, there's a lot to it as well, and I'm happy to educate people too. So like if they're really going to go that route, I'm happy to sit down and look at what they're looking at and give them some advice on that, because usually I can work with it.
Yeah.
There's something about what they're seeing that, with a little bit of education, they might make a different choice.
So on the education side of things, is there any type of schooling or anything to become a jeweler, or is it more of a passed down educational experience?
Early on, it was a passed down thing. So my grandfather started as a bench jeweler for, a manufacturing company, and then, eventually went on to his own, and then he taught my father before there was any like formal jewelry education in that way. So it was really, an apprenticeship basically. And then, GIA is the current, Gemological Institute of America is the current, place to go if you want to study and become a gemologist, graduate diamonds, and learn about the business. And they offer a wide range of career enhancement type programs as well. So usually you'll have your undergraduate in something general, and then you'll decide, let's go for that. And it's its own little program. It's not that long to do it, and so it's an opportunity.
So it's kind of like a graduate school for that particular field?
Basically, very, very focused on that.
Okay. And so on the brick and mortar side, you touched on like the education piece. How much of that is part of the selling process when it comes to the education of like making sure the customer knows exactly what it is they're after, what it is they look? I mean, because there's so much to jewelry that the common person just has no idea about anything of it.
You find more and more people, have knowledge, there's lots of resources out there to get information. So a lot of people are knowledgeable, but you're helping them, understand it, even more fully. And really in the sales presentation, I'm more of, who's in front of me and, what is their expectation, and what can I do to, give them knowledge, but I don't want to overwhelm them with stuff that's not that critical. Again, it boils down to, we're the experts. We hand select these pieces. We're creating beautiful pieces that are, going to be family heirlooms. So, we're kind of doing that for you. We're taking that guesswork out of it, but we're happy to kind of explain, what makes a difference, what makes this diamond more beautiful than the next. We're happy to, give as much information as the customer would like.
Yeah, because that's, to me, when I was going shopping engagement rings, I had no idea what the first thing was, what a cut name was, or anything of that nature. And so having that educational piece is almost like needed. Otherwise, you're not going to get something of quality.
Right.
And so do y'all still actually manufacture jewelry, or is it just now bought from manufacturers?
Honestly, we went through a period like in the early days of manufacturing the majority of what we sold. And then we kind of transitioned into, and I think it was as the industry developed, there were so many more manufacturers out there. So we went through that process, and then really we've gone back to creating a lot more of our jewelry in-house because we can control all aspects of it. We hand select the diamonds, we hand select the settings, we custom create, through CAD, 3D design, and all of that. So we have lots of capabilities, really. Anything that you would expect from a fine jeweler, we offer.
So y'all can actually go in and create different designs of jewelry, whatever the stone is, for the customers. It's not just limited to what's on display.
Yeah, absolutely. And custom creations have become a greater part of our business. So we're really doing a lot more custom work. And that's what makes it real unique, so you can go in with your ideas. And, that's what I like about my background in a design field. At least I'm good at, we're helping people come up with ideas. And we have a trove of, creations and repertoire that we can kind of pull out to help guide the process.
And so is there like a general catalog that y'all can show people to kind of help facilitate that? Because I know if somebody comes in, they may have this general idea, but it's like, how do you take that and put it to a actual piece of jewelry?
We do on our website have a spot where we show a lot of the creations that we've created. And then really the uniqueness of each individual deal or project is the benefit of kind of getting the ideas, working with the customer, having them come back in, either seeing virtual 3D representations or having the piece created in wax that you see the product before it gets cast.
Okay.
So you can go step by step and give yourself a confidence that, oh yeah, we're going down the right path. We're not just coming up with thoughts and then you're stuck with the end result. There's a way to go through it step by step.
So y'all will actually create like wax, I guess, replicas of what the end product's going to look like?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and what does a timeline look like from that custom side?
Custom, we probably should give a bigger window to create. Some projects are more involved than others, but in many cases we can do it in like a 4-week process. So, if it's more complicated, it might be more like 6 weeks to create and finish something.
So that's a little bit longer timeline than I figured. But I guess if somebody's really designing it from the ground up and it's not just I want that stone and that setting type of deal.
Yeah, if it's just simply putting something together, a real simple process or something we do on a regular basis, like a lot of our signature collection, we can do that in a matter of 10 days.
So what's the difference? What's your signature collection separate from a custom set, I guess?
So signature collection are a lot of the products that we've identified that are top sellers, basically, or just real classic design that we do real well with. So things like, 3-stone diamond rings, center stone with tapered baguettes, diamond line bracelets, the tennis-style bracelet, the band-style rings with classic shapes. I have several items here that represent that. And, so things along that line.
Okay. So on the things that you have here in front of us, what are some of the pieces that you've brought and kind of walk us through what they are and how they're made up to be?
So basically, some of our top sellers are engagement ring, bridal jewelry, and what I brought today is a center round with tapered baguettes. It's a real classic setting that we've done, for years. And it's still very classic and a top seller. Well, I also have diamond stud earrings and a diamond solitaire pendant. Those are very classic type items, and really staples in people's jewelry collection. I also have a band style ring that has emerald cuts, and this one that I have here is an eternity style, so the diamonds go all the way around, but we'll create it where they go just across the top or halfway. And then I did bring a little pave heart necklace, which is not something actually I produced in house, but it is a manufactured piece, but figured for the Valentine's crowd.
Why not?
Exactly.
Thank you to our wonderful sponsor, Lake Men's Health Center with Our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group. Guys, I know it's tough to get out and go to the doctor. I know it's challenging to find time in our busy days, but I promise you, signing up to be a part of this group with Dr. Curtis Chastain and Dr. Tyler Boudreau, you won't regret it for several reasons, but most of those being the fact of the time it saves, where you're able to get in on the same day, get that appointment done, and spend that time you need to talk with them about what your health goals and concerns are, as well as ensuring that the financial investments you have, you will be able to live out and see those come to fruition. So if you're an investing guy, you know all about and planning for the future and investing in the future. There's no other more important thing to invest in than your health. Make sure you go check them out, Our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group Men's Health Center, and tell them Patty G sent you.
So on the Valentine's crowd topic, beforehand we were talking, and we thought that, at least Jay and I thought that the Valentine's holiday was a big time of year for y'all.
Yep.
But it turns out that that's not really the case.
Yeah, and I hate to say it in that way because it is still a very good, gift-giving opportunity. But really what we found is, the more significant occasions are, the time you get engaged, your wedding, anniversaries, birthdays, Christmas, Mother's Day. So those are our top occasions.
So with Valentine's Day being a more, like we were kind of talking beforehand, a lower end gift giving occasion,
yeah.
Why is it that it's so pushed the opposite? Like marketing commercials nowadays, or at least in this time frame, are always get this jewelry, get this thing for Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't really know. It's like, and we still, we have lots of product that I think that can be perfect for that occasion. So it's not like, and we do promote somewhat, but, again, it's just, it hasn't been a huge occasion in my thought. But again, certainly I would love to sell jewelry at Valentine's and any other occasion.
Yeah, every occasion's good to sell,
exactly,
of course.
Beautiful jewelry. I mean, it lasts forever and, handed down from generation to generation. It's a beautiful gift.
So there's been a recent push for lab-made gems.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk to us a little bit about that and the differences between lab and actual, I guess, real or fake? Like, I don't know how to describe the different types, but from a lab-made gem to a natural found gem.
Yeah. So lab-grown, we as a company are not moving in that direction. So, again, it's just a decision that we've made at this point. It is certainly something present in our field, and, we have to be attentive and aware of it. And again, lab-grown diamonds are diamond. It's just made by a machine. So I think it's here, and, as far as I know, at this point, it's here to stay. So, so it is what it is,
Yeah, and it's like, I guess the appeal more so is that it is a diamond,
yeah,
but it's still artificial, right? So it still has this, well, it's not like but it is a real diamond, right? So it's still created under the same chemical design, right? But it's just not, I guess, found in the wild.
Yeah, so they have testers out there that can tell the difference, and really most of the responsibly, people that are selling or dealing in it, and the manufacturers are actually laser inscribing these stones. So they're putting lab-grown on the girdle, on the side of the diamond that you can see under microscopic, evaluation. And, that's important. So, that's critical in my mind. But there's also testing equipment out there that can determine, lab versus natural. And so, it's just really the buyer has to make their decisions, what is important to them. Do they want natural? The one thing that we will do, like in our business, we do offer where you can, when you purchase a diamond from us later down the road, if you want to upgrade it, and you can bring it in and you can trade that one back for what you paid for it. There's not that certainty in the market for lab grown. Lab grown is just an unknown thing at this point. So, it's going to play itself out at some point. But we know natural diamond, and and we know the value therein, and so we will put our name behind it and allow you to trade it back for what you paid for it to do an upgrade.
I didn't know that was the thing.
Yeah.
So
that's on center stones, on engagement rings, and diamond stud earrings, like a solitaire pendant, like that could happen in that way too. So, because the diamond itself is valuable, and it'll hold its value as long as it's not damaged in any way, which would be difficult. But as long as it's come back in good condition, we'll give you back what you paid for it and allow an upgrade.
Okay. Well, because every diamond, like every diamond's unique. There's not one diamond alike from the other, because given that they're found naturally,
yes.
They're not the same. Lab's going to be looking exactly the same.
There's much more control in the lab, and so that could be the case. Although even there's variety. So it's not perfected in the standpoint. It's like like clone.
Yeah, it's not like a 3D printer reprinting them all.
And you're still going through the process of cutting. So there's some involvement of labor in cutting, just as natural diamonds. They don't come out of the ground looking like the beautiful thing that you put on you to wear. They're coming out as a crystal, and it goes through the steps to get it to that finished state.
So what are the steps to get to that finished state, going from crystal to what we see in front of us?
Yeah, so basically, there's the mining operations that are, or the, any alluvial mining, all kinds of mining. And so those are collected and sorted, still processing through the system and getting to De Beers used to control a lot of the market, but there's other players in that field now. And then, there's groups that buy those assortments, and then they'll take it, and they have their own cutters, and those cutters will create the finished gemstones from that rough material. The rough looks like a sugar crystal or tetrahedron, so it's nothing like your finished piece. So if you saw it, you wouldn't even think it was anything special, just in its natural state.
So there's that much molding that goes into the crystal itself, into the finished product.
Yeah. But, obviously the people that are in the business, they know what they're looking for, and they know the value of what that is. But, it takes that cutter to really release the beauty of the gem.
Okay. And so do y'all ever process it from that state, or are y'all buying the diamonds pre-cut?
We really aren't in that very early stage, so we're not buying rough material and using cutters. We have access to cutters. In many cases, if a customer has like a damaged stone, we can have it recut or repolished. So there is you're not losing everything. Even if your stone is damaged, it can be brought back to a beautiful state. But usually there's the diamond vendors, and we buy from an assortment of diamond vendors, and they're all over the place, all over the world. So it's really a global business.
So when someone is going to buy a diamond in particular, when someone's going to buy an engagement ring specifically, what type of education do y'all give them, and what is that buying process?
Mm-hmm. We do have a nice little selling brochure that kind of goes through the steps, the 4 C's of diamonds. So we're able to give them sort of a breakdown of, what makes this unique, what's special about this stone, and it helps them understand, from a value standpoint, what are they looking at, what are they getting. And a lot of the stones today do come with certificates. I think pretty much everything we sell today has independent representation. Most of it's Gemological Institute of America, GIA. And so that gives you peace of mind too. An independent lab has graded this stone. It's done all this information for us, making that simple, and that's a beautiful document that you can show and kind of go through everything that makes that diamond really unique.
So you said 3 C's or 4 C's of diamonds?
4 C's.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what are the 4 C's?
So you have your cut is really your most critical C. So that's the cut, the fashioning of the diamond. You have color, clarity, and carat. So carat is your physical weight. And then, of course, color and clarity are the features. Color is really visible to the eye. When it gets, goes from a scale of D down to Z. Most jewelry quality is in that D to J range. And, that's a nice thing that you can show people, different stones and show them side by side to help them understand, what is that slight nuance or what makes these stones slightly different in price. And those things will affect the price.
So, and what are you looking at specifically to see what the price effectors are within a stone?
Those 4 C's basically. So the weight of the diamond influences price, and it's basically like a bell curve. So the larger you get, it starts going up quicker and quicker. So the prices grow pretty rapidly. And then color, clarity, those are features in the diamond. Clarity is usually not visible unless you put it under magnification. You'll get to a point where something is of maybe more of a commercial quality. If you can see anything in it, it's really a lesser quality, like I1, I2, I3 type stone, and that's really not, those aren't things that we're really selling unless it's in something like a pendant where it's not as important to have the highest quality.
So what is the average, stone that y'all are selling for the single setting?
For engagement?
Yeah.
So again, in that D to J color range, depending on the customer's budget. And then clarity-wise, in your brilliant cuts, like your round, pear, oval, marquee, those shapes don't really reveal clarity characteristics in the diamond. So you can go all the way to what's considered an SI2, a slightly included stone, and it still faces up nice. You're not going to pick out any of those inclusions unless you put it under the loop or the magnifier. And then, so all the way from flawless down to SI2, and it's a pretty broad scale. Obviously, those higher stones are very expensive, so you're not selling those that often unless the customer has, really done their research and that's important to them. So an SI2 stone is a beautiful stone, not going to show you anything, that makes that stone look poor, and it's a way to, not get crazy with the expense of it. Flawless, internally flawless, those things are, it's hard to, even as a well-trained person like myself, to evaluate that. Those kind of stones really go to the lab to get, scrutinized
Right.
to that nth degree. But, and then really what we focus on is cut. Cut is the most important C. That's what makes the diamond beautiful. So really our family hand selects all the diamonds we sell, and we focus on cut to really give you that beautiful diamond that, is going to sparkle for a lifetime.
Welcome to the brand new Falaya mobile app. We took all the same tech that's helped hundreds of people sell their homes themselves and packed it into an easy-to-use app for your phone. When you download the Falaya mobile app on either the Apple or Android App Store, you'll immediately be able to see the power of this game-changing tool. From the seller's dashboard, you can navigate to all the information that you need. We intentionally separated everything into key groups, such as tasks to be completed, buyer leads for your listing, and contact information for everyone involved through closing. When you get an offer on your property, you can simply review and respond all within the app. No matter where you are in the world, you'll be able to monitor everything that's going on with your property from listed to sold. It's truly the power of Falaya in the palm of your hand. Download the app and see for yourself. Falaya, it's real estate reimagined.
So is there one cut over the other that has that more? Because when it comes down to it, people are going to recognize it by how they see that light reflect off of it. Mm-hmm. And so is there one cut that does that more so than others?
Your round brilliant is still the most optically efficient way to cut a diamond, but those other shapes out there are very close. And, again, I think that's really just preference. And, a lot of times the customers will shop and look for what looks good on their hand. And, those shapes are out there for a reason, just to give people choice. And everybody's got what appeals to them.
Yeah. And so y'all don't just sell diamond jewelry though, right? It's other different gemstones and all of that as well.
Yeah, anything you would expect to get from a fine jewelry store we'll have. So we have beautiful colored gemstones, we have pearls, we have gold jewelry, and anything you would expect from a fine jeweler. We also have watches. We do Omega, Longines, Ebel, and Seiko.
Okay. The watch game is an interesting one that I've seen. Like they can get very glamorous.
Yeah.
And it's kind of picked up a lot on, at least I've started seeing a lot more on social media. People will flip watches, but they're looking specifically the same thing y'all are doing. It's just a lot more present within the watch, like from the gemstone standpoint. So it just gets a lot more decorated and everything. So how do y'all kind of help customers guide them within what watch is going to work best for them? Most of the time, really that watch consumer is a knowledgeable consumer usually. So they've done a lot of research. They're usually really into it. So, I have to make sure I'm kind of up on my information because they usually know more than I know. But, the nice thing is that, as an example, that Omega watch brand is just, it draws a crowd, and there's it's just known as a very fine timepiece. Just the testing and the history and everything about the watch just exudes, fine. Yeah. It's the watching is interesting. I'm not a big watch guy though. It's like I don't know. It's just one of those timepieces that I can't get behind. But you're right. People will come in and if they say, have you ever been schooled by a watch buyer before? I mean, they definitely are very knowledgeable, and they go onto these sites. There's all kinds of sites and podcasts and different YouTube, this and that and the other thing. So it's hard for me to keep up. And but you gotta get out there and it's almost really like a self-purchase customer though. So that person comes in, they've done the research, they really know what they want. So in that regard, it's a beautiful thing because they're into it. They understand everything that's unique and special about this piece that they're about to buy. How much of what the business y'all see is that you describe self-buy customer, where they already know what they want, they just want you to place an order for them? Yeah, I'd say it's a good bit. It's a little bit of each though. Particularly, like the watches, it's very specific. Honestly, when we have people that just call and don't come in the store, it's just generally important just to get the reference number and know specifically what the customer is after. Sometimes they may not know, exactly what they're after, but on watches it's very specific. So I think if you can get it down to that specific, thing, I think that's helping your customer and helping you as well. So, working with you said about family heirlooms and such. Have you had customers come in and kind of want to repurpose diamonds, and how do you work with them on that side? Yeah, that's the benefit of that. So, obviously styles will change over time. So it's beneficial to have that ability and really you have the value in the gemstones that you have. So there is value there. And then you're paying to recreate it. So, and if it's something that you're not using, it's just living in your box and, never putting it on, why not? Or if it's something handed down from your grandmother or your mother or something that's, maybe not something you're going to wear, why not turn it into something that you will wear? Yeah. And so have y'all had a lot of people come in and ask to get like their grandmother's stone in a different setting and kind of re-step their family heirlooms? Yeah, absolutely. So, and sometimes you may discourage them depending on, what they have, just trying to educate them on, you might want to reconsider, because this piece, the craftsmanship in this piece is pretty amazing. So you might not want to do it in this case. But, in most cases, it does present where, let's update this. Let's make it into something that's going to be beautiful for you. So have you ever had somebody come in and say, like, hey, I want to change up this jewelry from my mom or grandmother, and you've been like, hang on. It doesn't happen that often, but it has happened, and usually they're appreciative, and, that you can find another path.
to get them where they want to go.
Yeah, they gotta recognize what's in their hands,
Yeah, definitely.
And so do people come in and kind of get their evaluation, or I guess appraisals, from what they have and don't have?
Yes. So that's a service that we offer as well. It's always great if somebody has, previous appraisal information, because it kind of tells the story, and it helps to move that process along.
So from like a fine jewelry purchasing standpoint, we talked a little bit about like there's different price points to get in the market from different pieces. How do y'all kind of go out there and tell customers that you have such a wide range of actual pieces that they can purchase at whatever price point? What type of education is there for them to make a decision?
Yeah. So that's the thing. I mean, obviously we can't have everything in the cases, but we do have a very broad selection. So in many cases, it's there. But realistically, we're constantly producing jewelry. So, if you come in and we need to tailor it to your needs, we're going to try and find a solution and get there. And we're going to help you along the way so you can understand, what you're getting.
So what have been some shifts in the jewelry industry that you've seen over the last decade or so? I think there's been shifts in purchasing. Like, I think it's watches actually are a little bit on an upswing. Obviously people with their phones and, do I need a watch and all that conversation. But I think people still, enjoy having something, nice to wear. And, because particularly for men, they don't have a lot of jewelry necessarily. So, a watch is just a nice statement. And then other trends, it sort of shifts all the time. But I think the reality is the staples always remain, so all the important jewelry and the classics always remain. But we're always there to shift as need be and create. We do a lot of custom work, so we can do anything that the customer is searching out. So what are some classics in your eyes? What's like a classic set of jewelry or something that, like you got to have these certain items?
Yeah, so obviously diamond stud earrings is a staple. In many cases, people will actually put that into their jewelry collection, and then that becomes the thing they wear most. So it's just a great gift, and that is something that you can trade up over time. So, you can grow those diamonds for that person. And then, just nice signature pieces like diamond statements that are, just timeless, like the tennis bracelet and solitaire pendant. Those things are just classic. So I see those as, just other jewelry would be like, pearls. I think everybody could use a nice strand of pearls for that occasion that they're going to use those. Birthstones are nice for gift giving.
This episode is proudly presented by Gage. Gage is a local company here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. For over 40 years, Gage has provided businesses with the very best telecommunications, IT, and standby power services available. Gage has a variety of services, including Gage Cloud Voice. It is the last phone system your business will ever need. You need to give your business the ability to be accessible anytime, anywhere, and with Gage's cloud-based phone system, you'll be able to accomplish just that. Not only do they have Gage Cloud Voice, they have fully managed IT services that are proactive network monitoring, 24/7, 365, help desk, business continuity. They are there for you. What you're also going to need is some cybersecurity. Gage is there to safeguard your business from potential cyber threats, even when you aren't aware they exist. Gage also is power and leaders in standby generators. They are the #1 Cummins dealer on the Gulf Coast and provide generators to homes and businesses of any size so you can keep life going. Gage, better connected, a proud sponsor of the Patty G Show. What is it about the diamond you think that kind of makes it like that pinnacle gem that everybody's getting and using in different ways?
It's just such a beautiful gemstone, and it's traditionally regarded as that, ultimate symbol of love, and its durability and its beauty and its longevity. All those things I think speak for it.
So what has been one of like the cooler gemstones in your eyes that's not a diamond?
Sapphire is always, is probably just a popular gemstone, and it's a very wearable gemstone. So we really do well with sapphire. And the interesting thing is that there are gemstones of all a variety that, you don't expect even. So, there's just, I think that's the thing. It's just sort of limitless. There's so many options out there, and there's something that's going to pique someone's interest. So there's something that's going to speak to you.
How do you even like trace and track all these different gemstones and kind of put them out there on the display, or kind of educate people of what to expect or what to look at even?
I mean, for us, we always kind of lean towards the classics, but that, we always have that ability to create anything. But all of our, in-store pieces tend to be real classic and timeless, basically. We're looking for that timeless jewelry that, can be passed from generation to generation.
Yeah, I mean, they truly are part of somebody's, like, I mean, you have insurance policies for jewelry at this rate.
Yeah, that's important too. And we don't insure things, but we do recommend Jewelers Mutual, and obviously people can choose their own insurance, but those appraisals will help, and it's good to have that for pieces that you can't replace.
So what are some good like upkeep tricks or tips when somebody's going through and like wearing jewelry, like their everyday jewelry? How do they keep it clean?
The best thing is we always offer a complimentary cleaning and checking. So we tell our customers to please come at least 6 months, but really you're welcome to come as often as you like. Diamonds naturally and other gemstones naturally attract dirt, grease, so they're going to get dirty. Just wearing them they're going to get dirty. And really our cleaning solutions and, the way we do it is generally greater than what you might be able to. We do sell cleaning stuff that you can take home and things like that, but we do encourage to bring it in, let us check it, let's make sure everything looks right. Sometimes we can catch things that we see that might become a problem before they are a problem.
How often should people like have their stuff checked?
We say minimally every 6 months, but we would encourage them to come as often as they like to keep it looking beautiful.
Yeah, and it changes drastically from an unpolished
stone.
Yeah,
I haven't met a customer yet that said, "Oh, it looks terrible after you cleaned it."
Somebody came in and said, "Oh, that's worse than when I brought it in here."
No, we've never heard that.
So what has been like a really cool piece you've been able to craft or help somebody create that you've just kind of stuck with you over the years?
Yeah. I've done several custom projects that have, I think the real pleasure in it is when the customer receives it and it really meets what their expectations were or exceeds their expectations. So, I would say that's, and then selling, things that are important and significant, those tend to kind of ring a bell and kind of remind you, you just remember that, just experience and, dealing with fine things that, can last a lifetime.
So has there ever been something that somebody wanted that was like kind of out of reach, like a carat size of a diamond that was too big or anything?
Nothing so far. I mean, usually budget kind of curtails that. So we haven't, I don't think we've ever, sometimes you might find things that are harder to locate, that'll be harder to source, whether it be a certain shape or, certain criteria or, but that's generally, we have lots of resources, so, and we're going to use all those resources and see what we can do. And hopefully we'll come up with a good solution.
So, and oftentimes are you finding and reaching out to manufacturers, or do like other jewelry stores in the area kind of talk with each other about, hey, do you have this, do you have that? Mm-hmm. Is there more kind of a friendship amongst them, or is it more now go straight to the manufacturer?
That's a loaded question. No, I'm just kidding. So, again, we do try and, we try and at least kind of be aware of each other and know that there are resources there that you can reach out to. obviously we're competitors, so there's a little bit of that there too. But I think there's good rapport too. Like obviously, security is a big thing in our industry, and so if there's something going down or like suspicious people in your location, we generally will like let other jewelry stores know in the area so that they can be on the watch and prepared. That's important because that can happen, and you have to be prepared, and hopefully you can be helpful to all your competitors in that way.
Have you ever had an instance of somebody coming in and trying to walk out the store without properly paying?
Yeah, there's it happens, so you really have to be on the watch and be careful. Luckily, we don't have a lot of it, so it's very infrequent. But you just need to pay attention and be aware. There's Jewelers Mutual and other groups. They produce these reports of things that are happening, mostly in the United States. But it's helpful to see that and to share it with your staff so that they understand, this is a circumstance that happened, whether, wherever, California, Georgia, whatever. But let's be on the lookout and let's be careful if these situations present themselves. So it's useful in that regard, that where we're sharing information and trying to be, safe.
Yeah, never let them go try it on and show their friend in the car in the parking lot.
Yeah. You realize, how to present it because, it's generally things of great value, so you want to be careful.
Yeah, got to make sure that your most valuable asset stays in the doors.
Exactly. Yeah.
So as we kind of start to wrap up the show, we do have a set list of questions we ask everybody. Okay. So the first one is, what is something you did as a kid you wish you could still do today?
Okay. I think that is more of the freedom to do almost anything, that spontaneity and being able to just go and do, with, being an adult and having a schedule and being kind of restricted in that way. I wish I had more of that childlike freedom.
Yeah, I don't think we have that. That freedom is fleeting quickly. It's no longer wake up and what do you want to do today type of situation as you get older.
True.
Yeah, I definitely miss those spontaneity days.
Oh, yeah.
So you've been in the business for quite a while, and being the third generation owner and seeing that fourth generation come, what are like 3 lessons you've gathered along the way?
Mm-hmm. I think, certainly looking to the past, being aware of the past, the history of the business, but yet living in the present, being present, and then just searching for, trying to create a better future. And then one thing is I always like to, when dealing with customers or when people come in the doors, just treat them all with respect and just, treat them like your friend, and just make everybody feel welcome when they come in your door. And another thing would be, and I'm pretty good at this, I don't talk a lot, and I try and be a good listener. So really, everybody that's across the counter from you, has something to say, and I try not to put my words in front of that, just listen and be a good listener, and hopefully you're going to come up with a good solution for what they're looking for.
And what do they say? You've got 2 ears in one mouth. Use them accordingly.
Yes.
Listen twice as much as you speak.
Oh, yeah.
So you being the Baton Rouge brother, the one that's running the store here in town, what is something you love about the Baton Rouge area and community?
So the nice thing is I went to LSU, so I was familiar with Baton Rouge from that perspective. But I feel like then you're kind of in a little bubble over there at the campus. So, I love actually, that this is the flagship university, that LSU is here. That's a great asset to our community. I love the LSU Lake area, and I'm really excited that, they're going to be made better. And I like to paddleboard, actually, so I'm ready for the lakes to be better. And one thing I feel about Baton Rouge is it's sort of, my impression is that it's a becoming city. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, everybody has a part to play, and it's not like it's already done, it's still becoming what it's going to be.
Yeah, that's a good way to put that. It's like we've got so much room for potential and for growth. We haven't hit our peak yet.
Correct.
There's so many different ways we can better improve ourselves. The Lake Project being one of them. That's going to be huge.
Oh, yeah.
And just make Baton Rouge a whole bunch more attractive.
Absolutely.
So for the final question, Donnie, what can I do to help you?
Okay. That's a good question. You have to tell me now.
Well, I've already got a jeweler for life, so
that's it. Yeah. So, I think actually I've watched how you've kind of progressed with this segment and things like that. I think it's interesting that I think you just had a little gathering recently with people that have been on the show. So I think that's neat. I think that networking and, just getting people to meet one another and sharing of ideas and getting to learn about, what's going on. I think all of that's important.
Yeah, now you're in the Patty G community now.
I know, man.
You get to be a part of the Patty's Patio Party
That's
next
awesome,
year.
Man. That's excellent.
Well, I thank you for coming on the show today.
Absolutely.
Appreciate your time and your stories and what y'all have. It's a great business, and I'm always excited to see family businesses continue on. So I'm excited to hear the fourth generation's underway for Boudreaux's Fine Jewelry. So
Absolutely, it's in good hands. Yeah.
That's good. That's a good thing.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Donnie, for coming on. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time. And I thank everybody else for listening or watching, whatever platform you're consuming us on. Thank you for keeping the show going. 200-plus episodes in. We're still loving each and every one of them. If you're in the area, whether it be Baton Rouge, Metairie, New Orleans, make sure you reach out to Boudreaux's Fine Jewelers. Let them know that you heard about them on the Patty G Show, and they're going to educate you and walk you through the entire step every way and make sure that you walk out happy and smiling with your purchase. So thank y'all so much for listening. This is the latest episode of the Patty G Show, and we'll see y'all next week.